Ever get that feeling, like when you're talking at someone,
Hmm.
not really with them,
Yeah.
especially in those tough conversations, when things are a little tense? Well, today we're going to do a deep dive into how to build unshakable trust. The kind of trust that transforms those tense moments into, really genuine connection.
Yeah.
And we're going to be taking excerpts from pasted text and really extracting the gold,
Yeah.
the stuff you can use today to make your conversations and your relationships stronger.
It's fascinating. One of the things that pasted text dives into is that it goes way beyond just the basics.
Uh-huh.
We all know that things like honesty and reliability are important,
Right.
but pasted text digs into what they call deep trust.
Okay, deep trust. Lay it on me. What makes it so special?
It's not just about avoiding, relationship disasters.
Mhm.
Deep trust actually makes people want to work with you, to go that extra mile because they feel that really deep connection.
So it's not just competence then.
Mm.
It's like this magnetic pull that
Mm.
draws people in. I like that. But how do we actually build it?
Well, pasted text uses this really interesting analogy of a conversation spectrum. Imagine a radio dial
Yeah.
with 3 frequencies, promoting inquiring and reframing.
Ooh, I love good analogy. All right, walk me through these frequencies. What's promoting all about?
Well, think about it as broadcasting your own agenda. Even if you think it's for the common good, you're focused on, getting buy-in, solving the problem your way.
Which ironically can actually undermine trust, right?
Yeah.
Because the other person feels like they're not being heard.
Exactly. It creates distance.
So what about inquiring? Asking questions seems like a good thing.
Absolutely. It's about gathering information, understanding perspectives. But on its own, it doesn't necessarily build that deep magnetic trust.
Okay, so inquiring keeps things neutral, but doesn't create that click.
Right.
Which brings us to reframing. Is this the secret sauce?
Reframing is where the magic happens. It's about moving beyond simply hearing someone to making them feel truly heard.
So it's not just active listening,
Mhm.
nodding along and paraphrasing.
It's deeper than that. It's about what we call reflective inquiry, where you're trying to understand the other person's experience on an emotional level.
So how do we actually do that? Pasted text breaks reframing down into 3 key aspects: emotion, importance, and meaning. Let's start with emotion. Why is that so crucial?
Well, because emotions are always there, even if they're unspoken.
Yeah.
By identifying the underlying emotion, even a subtle one, you help the other person regulate themselves.
It's like saying, hey, I see you.
Yeah.
I get that this is making you feel frustrated,
Yeah.
anxious, excited, and that's okay. Just acknowledging that can be powerful.
Absolutely.
That's
To do
comforting.
this well, you need some self-awareness. Pasted text even suggests checking out a feeling wheel to expand your emotional vocabulary.
Ooh, a feeling wheel. I'm adding that to my to-do list. Okay, so we got emotion down. What about importance?
Understanding what's important to the other person is key. It's about recognizing what's at stake for them, what they might lose, why this topic matters so much.
So it's not just about the facts. It's about understanding the weight of the situation from their perspective.
Precisely. By tuning into that, you show them that you genuinely care.
All right, last but not least, meaning. This one feels a bit more abstract. Help me out here.
Meaning is about stepping into their shoes and grasping how they're making sense of the situation, their perspective, their thought process. It's less about the objective truth and more about their personal story.
So it's like understanding the narrative they've built in their head. This is making me rethink how I listen in conversations. But how do we put all these pieces together? Pasted text mentions something called a reframing inquiry. What's that all about?
Well, let's look at their example with the VP of sales and the CEO.
Okay.
Remember, the VP was furious about a product launch disaster and was pointing fingers at the marketing team.
Oh, yeah. Classic blame game scenario.
Oh.
So how did the CEO use reframing to navigate that?
Instead of trying to calm the VP down or, offer a solution, they paused and said something like, "You are very angry at the VP of marketing. It was critical for you to be fully coordinated with marketing about the product launch. It seems that you didn't follow up with them, but still hold them solely accountable." Did I get it right?
Hold on. Let me unpack that.
Yeah.
They acknowledge the VP's anger. That's the emotion. They recognize the importance of coordination. That's the importance. And they reflected back the VP's tendency to blame without acknowledging their own lack of follow-up. That's the meaning the VP was assigning to the situation.
Exactly. And by framing it as a question,
Right.
did I get it right? The CEO invited the VP to correct them, further demonstrating a willingness to really understand.
That's a masterclass in reframing. I can see how that goes way beyond just active listening techniques.
Active listening is important, but it can feel analytical.
Uh-huh.
Reframing brings in a deeper level of empathy.
So it's moving from I hear you to I feel you. And paste in text gives some great examples of phrases that demonstrate this right. Like, does it feel unsafe too?
Yes. Those phrases really tap into the other person's emotional experience, and they avoid those conversational landmines like, I understand, which can sound dismissive.
Yeah, or yes, but, which is basically saying, I wasn't really listening,
Mm.
but I have to admit my inner voice is screaming right now.
Mhm.
Okay, this is great, but when do I get to share my viewpoint? When do I get to be right?
That's where the concept of earning the right to be right comes in. Pasted text emphasizes the power of deferring your agenda until you've truly understood the other person's perspective.
So it's not about suppressing your own opinion, but prioritizing understanding over being understood. And you
Yeah.
know you've earned that right when.
When you get a clear yes to that reframing inquiry,
Right.
did I get it right? That's when you know you've truly connected.
This requires a lot of patience. It's tempting to jump in with solutions or counter arguments, but deep trust takes time.
It does. And sometimes it takes multiple rounds of reframing before reaching that point of mutual understanding. You might have to reframe their emotion, then their sense of importance,
Yeah.
then their meaning multiple times.
So multiple reframing rounds before even starting to share your perspective. That's deep.
And remember, reframing isn't agreeing. You're validating their feelings and perspective without necessarily endorsing their viewpoint.
It's such a crucial distinction. Pasted text even connects this deep listening to leadership potential, which I find really intriguing. What are your thoughts on that connection?
Well, deep listening is an essential skill for any leader. Leaders who can truly listen and understand their team members build trust, encourage collaboration, and ultimately achieve more.
It's about creating a space where people feel safe to share ideas without fear of judgment, which leads to innovation and growth.
Exactly.
This is blowing my mind. I'm already thinking of all the conversations I could handle differently with this reframing technique.
And that's the beauty of pasted text. It gives you these practical tools that you can apply immediately. In fact, they have this thought-provoking question. I think you'll appreciate it.
Hit me with it.
Imagine you're in a meeting and someone presents an idea that you absolutely hate.
Oh, I have been there. I can feel my blood pressure rising just thinking about it. My mind goes straight to all the reasons why it won't work.
Instead of launching into a counter-argument, pasted text challenges you to pause and reframe their perspective.
Okay, pause button pressed. Now what?
Try to identify the emotion behind their idea. Are they excited, nervous, maybe a little insecure? Then think about why it's important to them. What are they hoping to achieve? What's at stake for them?
And then I dig into the meaning they're making of the situation.
All right.
How does this idea fit into their understanding of the problem?
Exactly. It's not about agreeing or disagreeing. It's about understanding.
Wow, that's a complete 180 from my usual approach. Instead of focusing on why they're wrong, I'm trying to grasp why it makes sense to them.
And that shift in mindset can change the entire dynamic of the conversation. It goes from a battle of ideas to an exploration of different perspectives.
And by demonstrating that genuine desire to understand, you're building trust and laying the groundwork for collaboration, even if you ultimately disagree.
Precisely. It's about saying we're in this together instead of it's me versus you.
This is so powerful. Pasted text isn't just giving us communication techniques. It's offering a whole new mindset.
It's about approaching every interaction with curiosity and a genuine willingness to see the world through someone else's eyes.
This deep dive has been a revelation. I'm starting to see how deep listening can transform not just my conversations, but my relationships as a whole.
Me too. And remember, this is a skill you can develop. The more you practice, the more natural it will become.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's one key takeaway you hope our listeners walk away with?
The transformative power of reframing. When you take the time to understand the emotion, importance, and meaning behind someone's words, you unlock a whole new level of connection and understanding.
And it's not about agreeing or disagreeing. It's about creating a space where everyone feels heard and respected.
Exactly. And by practicing deep listening and reframing, we can transform our conversations, our relationships, and ultimately ourselves.
This has been an incredible exploration of deep trust and the art of reframing but pasted text. Left us with one final thought-provoking question I'd love to leave our listener with today.
Ooh, I'm all ears.
Imagine someone is expressing a strong emotion. maybe anger, frustration, or sadness. Instead of trying to fix it, solve it, or offer advice, what if you simply acknowledge their emotion?
What do you mean?
Like saying, that sounds incredibly frustrating, or it seems like you're heartbroken about this. How do you think that simple act of acknowledging their emotional experience might impact the conversation and the relationship?
That's a powerful question. It really highlights the essence of deep listening. It's about creating a space where people feel safe to express their emotions and know that they'll be heard and validated without judgment.
Exactly. And sometimes that's all it takes to start building that bridge of understanding and trust.
It's amazing how such a simple act of acknowledgement can shift the entire energy of an interaction.
It's like you're saying, I see you, I hear you, and your feelings matter.
Precisely. And that can be incredibly powerful, especially when someone is feeling overwhelmed by their emotions. It can help them feel seen, understood, and supported.
It's like creating a safe space for them to process their emotions without feeling judged or dismissed.
Right. And that safe space is the foundation for building deep trust and fostering authentic connection.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes to the power of deep listening and reframing. It's so much more than just a communication technique. It's a way of being in the world, a way of relating to others with empathy and understanding.
I couldn't agree more. It's about shifting our focus from me to we, from trying to be right to trying to understand.
And in doing so, we create the conditions for deeper, more meaningful relationships, both personally and professionally.
Absolutely. Deep listening and reframing are skills that can benefit us in every aspect of our lives.
So as we wrap up this incredible deep dive, I want to encourage our listeners to embrace the power of deep listening. Challenge yourself to really hear what others are saying, to understand the emotions, the importance, and the meaning behind their words.
And remember, it's a journey, not a destination. Be patient with yourself, practice these techniques, and watch as your relationships transform.
That's it for today's deep dive into the world of deep trust and the art of reframing. We hope you've enjoyed this journey into the power of communication and connection.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep listening deeply, and keep building those trusting connections that make life richer and more meaningful.
You know, it really makes you think that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is just acknowledge someone's feelings.
Yeah.
It's like offering a lifeline of understanding in the middle of, like a stormy conversation.
It's so true. Pasted text really drove home the point that deep listening isn't about having all the answers
Right.
or, offering these brilliant solutions. It's about creating that safe space where people feel heard, seen, and understood.
And from that foundation of understanding, you can start to build something incredible. Stronger relationships, more effective communication, and a deeper sense of connection in all areas of your life.
It's a reminder that we're all human. We all have emotions, and those emotions deserve to be acknowledged,
Right.
even in those challenging conversations.
Well, I don't know about you, but this deep dive has given me a whole new perspective on how I approach communication. I'm definitely adding that feeling wheel to my toolbox and making a conscious effort to practice reframing in my daily interactions.
Me too. And I hope our listener out there is feeling inspired to do the same. Remember, deep listening is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. But the rewards are well worth the effort.
That's it for today's deep dive into the world of deep trust and the art of reframing. We hope you enjoyed this journey into the power of communication and connection.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep listening deeply, and keep building those trusting connections that make life richer and more meaningful.